All right, Rebels, welcome to the beginning of something different. This is Podcaster's Business Insider, the daily shows where creators stop playing small and start building like business owners. Here, we don't chase downloads for vanity. We build systems, strategies, and shows that actually pay the bills. If you've ever felt stuck, like recording into the void, wondering if your podcast will ever grow into more than just a hobby, this is where the guesswork ends, because you're not just a podcaster. You're a founder, a strategist, a builder. And together, we're going to turn your microphone into a media empire. So buckle up, Pod Rebels, because clarity beats chaos, strategy beats hustle, and momentum beats perfection. And let me just minimize some of this stuff because it's a little distracting. All right. Let me minimize that too. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So, as usual, guys, I want to know who's watching us live and who's watching the replay. Comment to us. Let us know where you're at. And how you're consuming this. And as usual, what is the biggest podcast challenge you are facing right now? So today, we are going to get into audience retention, because growth means nothing if listeners don't stay. Plus, we'll cover I'm sorry, I'm having a day today, so you need to bear with me a little bit. We'll cover Canada's rising podcast audience and Microsoft and Foxconn's plan to build the world's most powerful AI data center. So we got two major, I wouldn't say major, big articles. We got some big articles to cover. Pod News has reported excuse me, Canadian monthly podcast audience grows by 19% year over year, now compromising 46% of adult population. Brought to us by Pod News. This is kind of a big news. 46% of 40 million. That's the CPO surveys more than 4,600 Canadian adults annually, with a mission to rise awareness and understanding of the podcast audience for podcasters, agencies, advertisers, and others needing deep insight into business and opportunities for podcasting in Canada. Subscribers gain access to annual reports and all the CPL data. Me living in Canada, the headline, let's just get into the headline. I will get into my takes on this. Pod News reports that Canada's podcast audience is growing, showing steady adoption and increased engagement across demographics. Why this matters: Canada's growth proves podcasting is expanding globally, not just in the US, and advertisers will follow the audience. The thing that I have an issue with this article is they don't understand the legislation that comes behind this article. Yes, it is a good thing that that the podcasts are growing in Canada and people are starting to not only be made aware of more intriguing podcasts and great and consume different types of content. US creators can expand north, and Canadian creators can think cross borders to capture ad revenue. Um, this is kind of, let's focus on this. Okay, let's focus on this. I'll get into the legislation part in a little bit. But for this is important because now Canadians can actually tap into America's huge inflated market. It's really, really good for that. Now for the Americans, they can come over here to, I don't know why. Hockey. I don't know why an American would want to come up here. I don't know why. We have a smaller market. We have, when it comes to targeted markets, ours is smaller than America's. This next point here, bilingual and multicultural audiences equals new niches. Yes, you can tap into the French speaking part, but that's only Quebec and East Coast and a little bit of Ontario, just a little bit of Ontario, not the whole thing, unless you're looking at government, the US government, which Canadian government has to speak Canadian, English and French. But unless your podcast has to do anything with the French speaking population, why would you come up here? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's good for Canadians because now we can expand into America. And I mean, even if you look at the dollar exchange, it doesn't make sense for Americans to come up here because their dollar, it costs more for me to purchase something in America. A lot more. I think the last, yeah, 1 Canadian dollar will get you 72.5 cents American. Why would an American lose money coming up here, selling their products, selling them at a discounted price? Let me just drink some water here. If the Canadian dollar was stronger, it could make a valid point for it. I just don't see, and you throw in the legislation part of everything that's going on in Canada. Why would an American come up here? It's good for us Canadians because I can now tap into a broader market, but I could also always tap into that market. I just target down to the US instead of Canada. That's all I had to do. It's not hard. The legislation here in Canada is when it comes to speaking, is very tight. Very, very tight. They ding you for everything that comes out of your mouth. We had the opportunity to change all that. But we missed the boat on that. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to find a silver lining to this news article. I really, truly am. The only thing that I can come up with is that the Canadian podcast listener is growing. That's a good thing. But that's the only good thing that I can find. If you look at the logistics of this and you look at and you look at all the stuff that it's hard to find something good other than the Canadian market is growing, and it grew 46%. That's pretty big. That's pretty good. Which is also telling me, well, here's another good thing about it is that Canadians, the average Canadian, is now stopping and stop listening to mainstream media. Fantastic. They start to realize that they're lying to us. Their content that they're pushing out, these mainstream, the CBC, the CTV, the City Pulse, CP24 here in Toronto, they're pushing out nonsense. The only people that are listening to those channels are old people. I know my parents watch CP24 like at least for an hour a day. I don't know why. They have the excuse is the weather, but I'm like, the weather's on this too. It's on this too. We want to know what's going on in Toronto. Why? That's fine. Okay, no problem. No worries. Traffic. Right. Again, traffic here. The good thing is people here in Canada are starting to wise up. That's a good thing. Now, on the business side of it, if I'm an American podcaster, why would I want to sell my stuff up north for a discounted price? Well, technically it's not discounted because there's still the price is still the price, and the Canadian is going to have to pay the extra money for it. $1,000 is going to cost you what? 1,000 Americans going to cost you 13, almost $1,500, almost $1,400 Canadian. Why would I spend an extra $400 for the exchange? It doesn't make sense to me. So while the listenership has gone up, downloads are going up. Remember, we talked about this before. Downloads can go up, but if you're not converting those downloads into dollars, what's the point? This is perfect example of that. But it is good that the Canadian market is actually increasing 19% year over year. Then this is going back from 2017 to today. So almost 10 years, it's gone up. It's doubled. Yeah, it's almost doubled, which is fantastic. I mean, that's great. That's less earballs and eyeballs on mainstream media and more earballs and eyeballs on content creators that you guys are finding that is more in tune and more in line with what you guys want to see. Good for you, Canadians. Article number 2 comes to us from The Verge. Wow. Okay. Microsoft is turning Foxconn's empty buildings into the world's most powerful AI data center. The Verge reports Microsoft and Foxconn are teaming up to build Fairwater, the world's most powerful AI data center. Why this matters. Fairwater represents the next wave of AI infrastructure, creating cheaper, faster, and more accessible AI tools for creators. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get organized here. It's been a day. So, as compute scales, tools once reserved for enterprise will become available to indie podcasters, which is fantastic. We need that. We need what the big guys are playing with. We need it. And we've seen many, many, many indicators with different companies. I really need to read this article. Where is this? There may be a connection here with something that happened a few years ago. This is right by Lake Michigan. Oh, it's in Wisconsin. Okay. Okay. No, what happened was in Ohio, not in Wisconsin. Anyways, I was thinking about that train wreck that happened in Ohio 2-3 years ago, and it polluted the lake. But this plant is slated into be constructed in Wisconsin. Anyways, this is really good for us indie podcasters because now we get more super powered AI tools for cheaper, more affordable, and we don't have to, and we can keep up with the bigger guys. And this is fantastic for us. Podcasters who embrace these AI driven tools early will build leaner, smarter, more competitive shows. And that can happen at every single level, at every single stage of your business. And remember, I didn't say podcast or live stream, business, because it is a business and you have to treat it as one. Treat it as one and it will pay you as one. Treat it as a hobby, it'll pay you as a hobby. Editing, analytics, and content generation will become faster and more cost efficient. This is super important. The more efficient the tool is, and the more people that utilize the tool, the cheaper the tool becomes. I said this before at another live, that anytime a new technology comes into play, it's always super expensive. No matter what it is. The latest iPhone, the latest gaming console, the latest computer, the latest monitor, the latest microphone, the latest keyboard, the latest camera, the latest watch, the latest widget. Anytime and every time it comes out, it's always expensive. Why? It's new technology. It's how it is. It's always how it always has been. There's no getting around that. But when more people use that technology, when it becomes more part of life, the cost comes down. It's a depreciating asset. It's probably technology is the worst asset that you can own, unless you're owning stocks, and then it's great because they're always pushing out new stuff, and their stock goes up, which is fantastic for the owners of the stock. But if you own the device like this mouse, probably worth 3 cents right now. Just how it is. That camera is 3 years old, and it's probably worth, I bought it for $20. It's probably worth 5. Just how it is. It's just how it is. And the same thing with AI. The more people that come onto AI and utilize AI in their day-to-day life, cheaper it's going to get. It's just how this tech world is. So enough of that. Let's get into today. What are we going to be talking about today? That's it for the news. Designing your audience retention system. Getting listeners is hard. Keeping them is how you win. Retention turns casual listeners into loyal fans who stick around and buy. So there's basically anytime that you want to start a live stream or a podcast, this has to be the first thing that comes into your mind. This is the very first system that you have to build. Somebody just found me on the internet. They just listened to my whatever, or they just saw my whatever. How do I keep them? Remember, I said the average attention span of a human being today is 3 seconds. Goldfish have a attention span of 7. We have an attention span right now that is shorter than goldfish. So how do I get this person? How do I keep this? How do I get this person? How do I get this person to listen to my stuff or watch my stuff? And most importantly, how do I keep this person to keep coming back for more? There's 3 ways that you can do it: consistency, engagement, and value ladder. So it has been a long day today. Long, excruciatingly painful day. Let's get into the first one. Consistency. Consistency. You need to build a clear publishing schedule that builds trust. Use tools like ChatGPT or Grok. They're really handy in creating a schedule for you to figure out, how do I create this sequence to keep this listener? Very super efficient. Very useful. Engagement loops is number 2. Direct calls to action, newsletters, communities, surveys. Keep listeners connected. I do this with every single video that I put out, even these lives. And if you don't know what my CTA is, this is the first time that you came across me, or you're not paying attention. Because my CTA is for you to download the 15 steps to kickstart your podcast checklist, which is in the show notes. You need to copy, paste it into the URL, because my hyperlinks are not working. Not yet. Not yet. We're getting there. We are getting there. One listener at a time. And the third point, value ladder. Value ladder. Give consistent wins. Then layer in your offer so listeners grow with you. This is super important. This value ladder, it can be in this, like we have here, where you go into your checklist, where you do a checklist, and then from the checklist, you go to a boot camp, and then from a boot camp, you go into a Kickstarter, and from the Kickstarter, you go into the Mic to Millions. The first 3 are free, and the last one, you have to pony up. Not much, just a little bit. But with every rung in that ladder, it's a checklist to a 3-day boot camp, to a 5-day Kickstarter, to a 7-day program. And then it goes to a 6-week program. And then it goes to a year mastermind. The prices also come up, but also the value inside there are also timeless. A lot. The boot camp is enough to know. The $47 program that we have, I paid $2,500 American for. Just giving it away. Why? I built up to that. I build you up to that so that when you purchase it, you're like, wow, I can't believe this is $47. This is a steal. This is a steal. That's the whole point. And it's not just for me, it's for everybody. This is the stuff that you guys need to be doing. It's super important. So let's get into a real world example here. SmartLess Podcast retains millions, not just through celebrity hosts, but through consistent banter, cross promotion, and a community that feels that keeps listeners keep coming back. And a community feel that keeps listeners coming back. I can't talk today. I don't know SmartLess Podcast. There's too many podcasts in the world for me to be keeping up with. I'm sure it's a good podcast. And from the looks of it, they have like celebrities that come on. And I try not to focus too much attention on celebrities. They have their thing and their shtick, and that's fine. But what I'm trying, the idea here is that they have built this community that feels that their listeners keep wanting to come back to them because of the banter, because of the promotions, the promos from these celebrities. And that's their shtick, and that's what they double down on. Now, they also have celebrities that bring their audiences too, which is where the cross promotion comes. They promote the podcast, the SmartLess Podcast, plus they have their own audience, and the celebrities bring their own audience. So they have this huge community. They built this huge community, which is this is how they did it, and this is how they succeeded. Yours is different. Mine is different. I'm more towards smaller community, but more engaged community. I'm not looking for millions of people. I'd like to have millions of people. I'm looking for my first 100 people. That's what you need to be looking at. And if you look at it, 100 people in the entire world is not a big number. There's billions of people, and I'm looking just for 100. Because from that 100, we are super engaged with those 100 listeners or viewers. So what you're trying to do is trying to turn the retention to turn them into casual listeners and eventually into super fans. That's what you're looking for. You're not looking for multi-millions of people coming into your little circle. Looking for like 100 to 1,000 people coming into your little circle so that you can have this powerful community of like-minded people. So here's what I want you guys to do. We're going to build your retention system. First and foremost, you're going to map your current listeners' journey after they subscribe. Once they have subscribed, you're going to add an engagement loop, a newsletter, community link, or exclusive. Newsletters, straightforward. Community could be anything from Discord to Medium to oh my God, John, come on. It's just with Patreon. Mighty Networks, that's what I was looking for. It could be anything. We're using Discord. It's free. It's very powerful. I have used Mighty Networks in the past. Fantastic tool. I'm not knocking it. One of my favorite tools. We will be, once we grow up to where we want to go, we're going back to Mighty Networks. It's a phenomenal tool, super powerful. The paid version is like next level. I'd be an idiot not to go to Mighty Networks. But we need to grow a little bit more, start making a little bit of money. And exclusives. Exclusive could be like AMAs. It could be community call-outs. It could be private networks, private networking groups. It could be anything. So just add one of them, a newsletter, a community, or some form of exclusive. And next, your third one is measure the retention week over week. Do this for 90 days. This is the magic number, 1 quarter. Do it for 90 days and see what is the retention week over week. So remember, growth without retention, it's wasted energy. So we need to build systems that keep listeners coming back for more and buying. And that happens through calls to action. Like this call to action. Download your free 15 steps to kickstart your podcast checklist. Your roadmap to build smarter, faster, and with clarity. And don't miss the insider strategies and sign up for the Rebel Intel newsletter today. Tomorrow, Field Report Friday, how a podcaster built a thriving membership community. And we'll spotlight a podcaster who built a thriving membership community focusing on simply retention. That's it, guys. I have to come up with an outro. I really do. It just feels like I'm just ending this. It's horrible. It's horrible. I tell you, it's horrible. I got to figure this out. I think I came up with something, and I'll put it in a test. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are going to think about it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Throw it in as a... No, it's not there. Nope, not there. Where did I put it? Really? Where? Oh, I know. Where did I put it? Anyways, I'll find it. So it's somewhere. I'll find it. Anyways, guys, you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll wrap up this week. This is going to be our first full week again. So have a great night, guys.